You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Universal Tractioning Systems, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Chiro Thin, Everest Coaching Systems, Chiro Moguls, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Chiropractic Jobs Online, and Bax Max. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 93 of Chiro Hustle. I'm Luke, here's Jim.
So today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Kelly Polzin. If you want to know more about the LinkedIn secrets in chiropractic, stay tuned. So Dr. Kelly, tell us your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
My first experience with a chiropractor was when I was literally 13 years old. I was playing football, bantam football at the time, had the classic kink in my neck, and went to an old school, super traditional chiropractor. And when he adjusted me, my feet lit on fire, and there was no initial exam, there was no warm up, I didn't have a clue. I just knew chiropractors, get rid of back pain and kinks in your neck. So my mom dropped me off there, and I'll tell you what, I was vibrating when I left that office. And he definitely made it better, but he scared me so bad that I didn't go back for years until my dad actually had a ridiculous, a traumatic event that happened in our family. And he was working on a construction site, and he fell through a ceiling, and he landed on his head and his arm. And they took him to the hospital because he crushed the humerus, and he went into the hospital, and they did a surgery and put some plates in, and then he went to get up the next day after the surgery to leave, and he couldn't sit up in bed. And the situation got worse and worse. They released him anyways, saying, "Oh, it's probably just some anesthetic. He'll be fine in a few hours." And so when we got him home that night, he just continued to get worse and worse, to the point where he lost his sense of smell, he lost his balance, he lost his ability to do up his own buttons, and every time he'd go to sit upright, he would just vomit violently. And so we took him back to the hospital, and they did an assessment, and they had no clue. They said, "You know what, guys, the only thing that we're going to do, there must be a brain injury. So we're going to do and this is at one of the top medical universities in Canada. And so they said the only thing we can do is we'll do an intracranial brain exam. So we'll remove the skull cap, and we'll stimulate different parts of the brain and see what's been affected." And we were absolutely mortified. My dad is a small business owner. It was his business that, created our entire lifestyle. And this was unbelievable. Everybody, it was shell shock. And it was a close family friend who said, "You guys need to stop. You just need to stop for a second and get another opinion. You need to go somewhere else and just get another viewpoint on what's possible." And he said, and we were when you're in it, when you're deep in it, you don't have the ability to fully see what potential is. You can't see it because you're in it. You need to take a 30,000-foot view. And so we went, I said, well, what would a possible alternative be? These are the specialists. These are the brain specialists. This is what they're telling us. And he said, "Well, why don't you go see a chiropractor?" And you can imagine that response from the family. We were absolutely we were angry to start with. Whoa, use your head. Chiropractors are back pain. He is a brain injury. And he said, stop. Think for a second. What is it going to hurt to get another opinion? And, I thank God he had the personal power to stand up against us and say, "You guys need to just stop and breathe and get another opinion." So we went to a chiropractor in Calgary that came quite well. His reputation was really good. And he said, I know what the problem is, and I can help you guys.
Awesome.
And that transformed our entire family. My parents now are in their late 70s or
Awesome.
mid-70s. Sorry if they're watching this, mid-70s. No medications, vitamins. They do keto diet intermittently. My brother's a chiropractor. The entire family. That incident changed our entire lives, in course of my entire family.
Amazing story, man. You know, a lot of people don't know this, and this is some of the real that I've found myself standing into lately, Kelly, is I get a chance to collaborate stories with people now, and I'm really enjoying that. And a lot of people don't know this, but I quit working in journalism to go frame houses. And
Okay.
I quit working for the newspapers, and I went out there and started swinging hammers and cutting boards and carrying heavy stuff. And one day I also had a construction mishap. I fell down a stair hole. I was tacking Tyvek to a wall that we were about to rise up, and as I was finishing up the last corner, I edged myself into the stair hole. And if it wouldn't have been for my tool belt that I had on with my 3 layers of clothes on the bluffs of the Mississippi River, I would have really hurt myself. But it was because of my tool belt and my hammer that were in my holster that stopped me from free falling. And what it did is it slung me around, but it happened so damn fast because I was kneeling on my knees and I fell backwards. But I fell so fast that I was able to catch myself with one of my arms and swing myself to where I didn't fall away to the basement. So you can imagine.
Life can change that fast, right? That fast, life can change.
It was that fast, man. And yeah, so your story really resonates with me about your dad, because no one plans on getting hurt. No one plans on this one thing that could change our lives forever. And you like you said, you honestly, you didn't know what to really do for that situation. I mean, how old were you?
17.
Yeah, I mean, you had like a neophyte brain. You're like,
right. You don't know anything, and I I probably thought over the years about that individual who said, guys, stop. Like, imagine, we all know people that go through trauma in their life, but how many of us actually have the balls, the kahunas, to stand up and say, listen, you guys need to stop. And whether it's a cancer treatment or a cardiovascular issue, diabetes, whatever, so many of us just let it slip by, and it's our best friend, and we're watching their health deteriorate, and we don't have the personal juice to stand up and say, you need to take a serious look at this. You need to go and get some help, because your health is about to completely transform. If they would have opened my dad's skull cap off, I mean, who knows what would have happened. I know this, that we wouldn't have had the lights we have now. So thank you to that guy.
So what would you say makes you unique or stand apart from other chiropractors?
I would say that would be my vision for the future and my conviction to the present. I see, when I look at where the profession is and the holes that there are there, the stories that chiropractors continue to tell themselves, it makes, I have a clarity about that makes my job very easy. So I train, we have 15 or 16 chiropractors now in our group, in our network. And it's quite incredible to see somebody come into the network and not have any conviction, not have any vision for the future. They took it because they got a job. They didn't know where else to go. They didn't get into eye school to become an optometrist. So they figured, well, this is a good second. And I see it all the time, and they don't even know what they have in their hands. The power to heal people is so amazing. So I think it's just very, very clear. I have a real solid clarity that chiropractic profession is right now is cusping, and it is about to explode. The general population need it, they want it, and we just need to have well-trained practitioners to get us there.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think clarity is one of those things that gives us the ability to, I guess, not be entangled in poor thoughts or poor activity. And I think a lot of times the chiropractor, they allow themselves to do things that don't make them successful. And they don't realize how powerful their two hands really are. So I think it is cool that you say that kind of your superpower is clarity and vision, because I think that is a very unique trait. And I do think that more people need to attach themselves to people that have developed a sense of clarity in order to not have. I got some numbers the other day, dude. I'm going to share them with you quick. There's 77, and I know you're in Canada, but there's 77,000 chiropractors that are licensed in the United States. 35,000 of them are part-time, and half of those 35,000 are part-time of that 77,000.
Yeah.
So we have half of the population of chiropractors that are actually part-time.
Wow. Wow. And those guys just are doing it not out of passion, but rather out of, need, or out of a place where, they have no idea what they have in their hands, what that license gives them. And it's a shame that over the years they have been downplayed so much in the public opinion, and then they go and live that exact thing rather than really walking into their place of ownership, saying, wow, this is who I am. And you can change ridiculous changes in lives, but you have to really be there. You have to be present the entire time. You can't be drifting thinking about, wow, I need 3 more patients today or I'm not paying the bills. That's where the profession has been, out of a place of lack and poverty versus a place of absolute amazing transformation. And that's where I want to see the profession go, to transformation.
So as you've gone on this journey through life, have you collected any favorite motivational quotes or mantras that you've adopted into your lifestyle?
I think, the neat thing about those is as you change, and if you're not changing, I think you're missing out on one of the greatest gifts of being a human, is that we have the ability to change. As you change through life, those different mantras change with you. I think right now I'm really deep into the study of Byron Katie, and it's so interesting, because I liken this to, if you never saw a cat, a house cat. If you never saw a house cat, but you saw a picture of a house cat and somebody described a house cat to you, but you never actually held a cat in your hand or had a cat purring on your chest, or experienced the cat. That's the difference between knowing something and fully experiencing something. And I've known for years that your perception becomes your reality. But when you fully experience that perception and you find out on a really a really heartfelt level that the stories that you continue to tell yourself are the stories that create your reality, that would be my mantra right now that I'm fully enveloped in, is that I'm very, very careful and cognizant of the stories that I continue to tell myself, the differences between fact and fiction. Because many of us, and people I talk to, the doctors, patients, everybody has created stories around ridiculous beliefs that have no validity in truth. So I'm about, right now in my life, really getting down to the truth of the matter and separating the fact and fiction, understanding your stories, and then creating a different reality based on that. And I don't know if that sounded really esoteric, I didn't mean it to, but that's what my mantra is right now, is my stories create my reality.
Well, I'm ready to come lay down on your couch. So I know you've been future pacing this conversation, and you've been talking about your development into the chiropractic profession. You've been talking about how it changed the course of your family's life as well as yours and your brother's by becoming a chiropractor. I guess the next question kind of resonates with that whole tie-in. And what would we be able to accomplish if more people just simply knew about chiropractic?
People are going to know more about chiropractic because I like with people like yourself, Jim, people that are out actually with a cause at heart, not just doing it as a job, but actually doing it with a mission, with a purpose in mind. People are going to know more about chiropractic. People are going to know more about their body, their frame than they've ever known before. And it is going to, and it has to completely transform healthcare as we know it in North America. In the next 5 to 10 years, you are going to see such massive changes, and the separation between the people that understand that you are responsible for health versus some external force, a tablet, a pill, a potion, a lotion, that the medical profession is been based around for the last 100 years. We're going to see this divergent thing like this, and there's going to be a massive impact in the next 7 to 10 years maximum.
That kind of pops our bubble for the next question. I was going to ask pretty much what you just answered, so I'll ask something else. What would you say is the most impactful thing to happen to chiropractic in the last 10 years?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we threw you for a big curveball on that one, buddy.
You did. And, okay. Well, I can tell you, I mean, it's the mission that, so in my world, this is what's happened. So, 5 years ago, I sold my practice and I retired from chiropractic because I was too burnt out to keep at the grind, right? I created this big, massive machine, and it was a grind. I wasn't on purpose anymore. I wasn't fulfilling my mission. I was simply trying to create more and more revenue all the time, and it really knocked me off, and I really got disenchanted. So I just quit completely. And my current business partner, who at that time was just a good friend of mine, who was the founder of Divine Spine, called me up and said, "Listen, dude, I need some help. I'm opening a second clinic and I need your help." And I'm like, "I don't think so. I don't think I can go back." So after a little bit of cajoling, I said, "You know what, I'll give you 3 months and then I'm done. I'm out. You got 3 months to find somebody else and I'm out of here." And that was 3.5 years ago. And we've gone from 2 clinics to, we have 16 now. 16 doors will be open by June 1st. So if you ask me what's happened in the last 3 to 5 years that's going to completely change the chiropractic face as we know it, I think it's Divine Spine. I'm attached to it. Yeah, I've been focused on purpose to make it happen. But we have YouTube videos that had 28,000 views in the first 60 days. It's just been it is exploding. And I think it's the most amazing way. It's what it is Starbucks meets chiropractic and then services the community. And that's what we've created with Divine Spine. So I'm absolutely stoked to see what's going to happen in the next 5 years with Divine Spine.
Yeah, it's really nice for you to share. A lot of times people say the most important thing to happen in the past 10 years is social media influence for chiropractic. And I think that right now what you have with Divine Spine is never greater time to get the message out there because of social media. So just knowing that you can marry your ground level work with the media that we have access to now, I do think that you can really make a huge impact with Divine Spine. So, I think that it's a really compelling story too. This gives a lot of people that gravitational pull to say, hey, if you're not doing it right, figure out how to do it better.
You know, exactly. I mean, and it goes back to that, just the greatest gift ever to be a chiropractor and have this ability to massively impact people's lives. And you should love going to work. Not like I was, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, when I just was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have another day having to do this, because I got off purpose, and getting on purpose and having freedom again when you can take a holiday and having the ability to do the things we love. Every single chiropractor I bet you, Jen, you've ever talked to says, what do I love about being a chiropractor? It's adjusting. And that's what we've allowed people to do with Divine Spine. Is take out all the administration, take out all the terrible antics of running a business, and just get into doing what you've been trained to do, what your craft is. It's a completely different place to be. And that's what's completely re-engaged me, saying, wow, what a difference it is now to love doing this again, to go back and to say, wow, look at what I can do in my 3-hour shift or whatever it ends up being. It's just, it's a totally different place to stand in.
Well, something you said there takes me back to this past weekend. We went to 10X Growth Con, biggest business seminar for entrepreneurs and world changers out there. And one of the things that really courses through me is be obsessed or be average. And I think a lot of times people are okay being obsessed with the wrong stuff, and that that is a cancer inside of their success, because they're not obsessed about what they should be obsessed about. And I tell people, one of my favorite things to tell them now is, it's my duty, my obligation, my responsibility to be success. And that's where we have to, get back to the core. Where is your spine? Is your spine being healthy, and is your thoughts being, generated into a positive fashion, or are you not obsessed about your success? Are you average and you're okay with complacency? But if more people just realize that it's their duty, their responsibility, and their obligation to be successful, whatever that means to you, that is a huge breakthrough. And I think that most chiropractors need to give themselves permission to be great, and to be not in the shadow of the people that we stand on the shoulders of giants. They need to be the giant. And I think that, Samson and Goliath, the old parable was, how did you hit the giant? And he's like, how could I miss it? And I think that that's how we kind of have to look at the chiropractic profession with a certainty, is how could you not be successful?
Well, that's right. Like, everything, all the tools are out there, and you've got the gifts, but it's not given to you. You have to actually go and get it, right? Like, it's no different than, the patients that you ask to do some icing or eat better, or get off the alcohol or start to exercise. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. You can give them all the recommendations, you can give them all the tools, you can give them all the techniques, all the tricks, everything, but they actually have to take responsibility. And I think moving forward, like, the difference, again, we have a separation in the way that healthcare is going to go, and I think we have a separation with practitioners too. You got practitioners that are on fire, that get it, that think, holy shit, I am changing lives. I am going to absolutely change people's lives in my community. And then you have the people that are just here for the job. And those people probably shouldn't be here anyways, so they should go and find something else to waste their time at, because they're sullying the name for those of us that are actually in it for the long term.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Universal Tractioning Systems, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Chiro Thin, Everest Coaching Systems, Chiro Moguls, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, Chiropractic Jobs Online, and Bax Max. Let's hustle.
So what would you say are some of your favorite marketing strategies that you couldn't do without?
Oh, good. So, I think Facebook, without a doubt, has been. I mean, we're opening. Obviously, we're opening a new door every basically 60 to 90 days. So Facebook has been ridiculous for us to get really fast momentum. The last clinic that we just opened, they went to profit in day one. So you don't hear that very often, because these are from scratch. These aren't conversions. These are there was no office there. Now there's an office there. It's a Divine Spine, and patients are lined up to get in. We have waiting lists. We start marketing 3 to 4 weeks in advance. We have waiting lists to get in, and we just see the ramp up from there. So I don't think that Facebook is going to be able to be reproduced, but also Google AdWords and YouTube has been incredible. LinkedIn is that new, beautiful, untapped world that we're really starting to put some energy and some investment into our LinkedIn world, because it is, in my opinion, again, future casting, and kind of it is going to be, again, you're going to have the Snapchat and Instagram stuff for, I'm not going to say kids, but I am older, so I'm not Snapchatting, but very difficult to monetize. Whereas LinkedIn, it's, hey, I like it. I like who you are. I like what you stand for. Let's do business. So the LinkedIn world is going to be all directed towards creating massive networks of high intentioned individuals that are, that's going to be all business based. Whereas the kind of that social is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. That last Facebook seminar that I was at, they're saying you have to get your message out now in 6 to 9 seconds. Well, that's not a very big message in order to to keep it there. Whereas you got way more time, way more tolerance in LinkedIn. So I think there's going to be a massive change. But those things that I wouldn't do without. I would not do without Facebook, LinkedIn, or Google.
Well, I'm going to jump on a screen share with you after this interview and have you walk me through how to do this LinkedIn thing better.
Absolutely, man. It's awesome. It is awesome. I love LinkedIn. If you haven't spent time in that LinkedIn, it is the content is here. The people that are sharing there, when they're sharing stuff, it's stuff that improves your life. It's not crazy cat videos. So you're going to find that there's, again, that separation where you just have it's a higher usage rate. As an income demographic, the average LinkedIn user is making over $75,000 a year. So it's a better group to start to build a business around.
I don't know if I can get on board if there are no cat videos.
You can try it. I wouldn't advise it. You can certainly try it and see what response you get from the LinkedIn community.
Well, do you think, honestly, this is a kind of a deep dive on that topic, do you think that eventually that it's going to become an attack zone for the chiropractic industry the same way that, Facebook ads were and the Facebook marketers?
Well, so I don't know if you follow Gary Vee at all. I think what I resonate with him is that I think he is a visionary. He does future pace really, really well. And I love what he says about Facebook and LinkedIn. If you're not investing right now in LinkedIn, you will pay hugely later on. Right now, it is that golden, it's like a perfect garden plot. And you're in April, May, and spring right now, and you can choose to put your garden in now or just let it sit, and you're going to just have weeds there later on, because right now it's so fertile and it's really looking for leadership. Whereas you got Facebook world, which is just kind of that total consumer based. It's very difficult. Many business users, higher end business users, aren't even on Facebook. So you're not going to create strong business alliances with anybody in the same fashion with LinkedIn as you would on Facebook. It's just not there right now. So is it going to be the same? I think Gary's point is it's not B2B or B2C anymore, but it's more like B to P, which is just like business to people.
Yeah.
And I think that is where the real significant point has to be made, is it's going to be people that we're connecting with, not just, oh, you're a consumer, so or you're a business. We don't want to do that anymore. We want to make bigger, broader, more deep connections.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I guess, the whole idea is to get people to take action, right, with your connections with them. And the person that has the most repetition with how they communicate and the ability to make connections with people opens up the opportunities of what that person may be seeking. And I think that that's the big thing, is everybody's seeking for something. And if you fit the bill, then they do business with you if they feel like they can approach you, which I think is a really smart thing when it comes to marketing. How many people are on average on people's LinkedIn like friends list, do you know?
Yeah, so kind of that measure of what's acceptable versus not acceptable is you want to have over 300. Now, there is two different ways that the LinkedIn community has started to kind of approach this. One is saying make sure that your network is like only the people that you know really well, and I don't believe that at all. I believe that when you're building your online resume, your digital reputation, you want more people to know who you are about, what you're about, what you bring to the table, what your values are, what your beliefs are, because that's really where it's going. It's going to be where, if I'm, say like dentists, for example, I have a huge network of chiropractors in my LinkedIn community, but I like to really also talk to dentists because they have a serious problem that I can fill for them. And they just have to get to know that. For example, any dentist you talk to, unless they specialize in TMJ rehab, they don't want to have anything to do with it. They want it out of their offices. Well, I can do that. I can do that really, really well. I can really help people that have TMJ issues, and my dentist community need to know that. So, that's just a simple example of why having that LinkedIn is so important right now, even on the chiropractic face, because that dentist, he's going to tell 10 of his patients that have TMJ that don't know what to do about it, you know what, go see that guy. He's a really good guy. I've been following him on LinkedIn for the last 5 years. He's a legit guy. And that's the vision. Is the problem between LinkedIn and Facebook is people are used to Facebook. Oh, hey, I put $1 in this week. I want my $2 out tomorrow. That's not LinkedIn. LinkedIn is, hey, Jim, this is the shit that I do. I write books, I public speak, I offer, consulting services. And if you're ever interested in anything, I'm a legit, honest, upfront, transparent individual. You can trust me. And eventually, if that resonates with you and you like me, guess what? If you ever need my services, Jim, you're going to call me. That's the LinkedIn thing. And it doesn't happen overnight. You're not going straight to bed. You're going to actually build a relationship first.
I love that, man. I took a cue a long time ago, and I started building up my LinkedIn network 5 years ago, like you say. And now I have 2,500 people that are connected to me on LinkedIn. And I knew that eventually it was going to be the playing field for the elite. I knew eventually it was going to be the place to connect with people. I just didn't know how to properly use it. So I just kept on charging forward and building my contacts with people. And I just kept on moving in the right direction to start amassing a following because, note to everybody out there that listens that got this far in this episode, I know how to email people directly from your LinkedIn list. I know how to email directly from your Facebook followers. So, there's ways that I learned how to leverage both of these platforms dynamically by having a valuable tribe attached to me. So I think that more people out there that they always said that your network is your net worth. Well, your net worth is also your ability to give to more people and help more people. And I think that it used to be it's not what you know, it's who you know, and now it's how you treat who you know. So we're up-leveling constantly, and we're figuring out, it's not what you eat, it's what you eat eats. We have to think about it, and that's something that we're really, focusing on right now, Dr. Kelly, is creating the human funnel system. we're all into this digital ClickFunnels system. Now let's talk about the human funnel system of business and how that's done in old school, like meeting people and telling people what they get and delivering on that and building, like you said, that reputation and that referability. I think that that's something that transcends the digital space now. And if you, like we discussed off camera, if you do create enough content and you're consistent with it and it's valuable, then people look at you as a trusted resource, and then your business does blow the hell up. Not in a bad way.
Right, 100%. And that's, again, that really important distinguishing factor is that the Facebook world, and I mean, I don't know what your ad spend has been, Jim, we spend about $20,000 a month right now in the Facebook world. And Facebook, I believe, I mean, I've been quoted as saying Facebook is dead. It's not dead, but it's on the table. Okay, so there's a change happening with Facebook that everybody should be aware of, because as this change happens and more people are spending less and less money on old traditional ways like paper and television and news, radio, that money has to go somewhere, and it's going to be going into social media, Facebook being a major one. So you're not going to be getting 80-cent clicks anymore. So you have to build that reputation where you're the first on mind for your community. You're the first on mind for providing incredibly accurate, incredibly valuable information for what you specialize in. So if you're a headache doctor, if you're a low back doctor, if you're a decompression specialist, whatever you're doing, your entire community should know about you. And that's a service that LinkedIn can do that no other platform can do.
Yeah, that's it's really brilliant that you share that with people, because I think that a lot of times people, like what I learned at 10X is the person that has the most tools can win, but you have to know how to use the tools.
You have to, right, 100%.
And that's a very scary place, is because most tools are an investment. And you never show up to the job site without your hammer if you're a construction worker. People look at you like, what the hell are you here for? Oh, you didn't wear your construction boots today. Go home.
Go home. You didn't wear your boots, you didn't bring your tools. Go home.
Exactly, and that's where we are in this digital world now, is we have the tools, we have the resources, we have the power connections, we have the network, we have it all. But you just have to now go run with it instead of, resisting it. And I think a lot of times people realize that things come at them so fast that they do start resisting it. Like, you know what, I didn't get on Facebook. I wasn't there for 10 years, so I'm not going to do it now. Well, you know what, guys? I didn't get on until 5 years ago. 5 years ago. And if you think about that as an equation to making an impact, anybody that becomes obsessed with one thing can make a splash of impact in half of a decade. And that just goes to resonate with anybody out there that's on the fence about, what do I do with my ordinary, usual life? Well, you become obsessed, or you stay average.
Absolutely. I think, I right now am completely obsessed with change, because that is the only constant that I've seen over time, particularly if you look at time and history over the last 100 years, the rate of change has done nothing but increase, and it's the only constant that you're going to see. Yes, things will be great. Yes, things will be crappy, but change will be constant. It'll be this thing that was continuing. I shouldn't say change is constant. Change is exponentially increasing in terms of the rate that we're experiencing it. So you better be embracing it. If you're the person that's like, I hate change, you're in for a really bumpy ride in the next 25, 35 years.
So let's talk about some of your hobbies and things you like to do in your free time. What kind of books do you like to read?
Well, as I said, I'm really doing a lot of study right now with Byron Katie. She's very, very enlightening. So if you haven't looked at the Byron Katie work yet, really cool stuff. I'm deeply involved with Men of Iron. That has been, again, a life-changing, transformational experience for myself. We have quite a bit of reading to do in that world as well. I'm a huge, ridiculous fan of Ryan Holiday, and I try to consume all of his stuff, but I always fall back to he's got a book called The Obstacle is the Way, and Ego is the Enemy. And I find, and it's, you know how the story that you create creates your reality, but those two stories keep popping up, and I see it everywhere. I see it's like, there's the obstacle that seems to be the only way. I could go around it, but I know that I'm not going to get where I need to go if I go around it. I have to go through it. And I mean, I see that with everybody. Jim, you were talking about people that aren't on Facebook or don't do Facebook Lives or don't do, like I do a workshop. I do a Facebook Live in the workshop so that everybody in my community, everybody in my network can see that I'm doing a workshop. That's not easy to do. That's like, it feels weird the first few times you push live and you know that like it's going out to the world and anybody might be watching. That's a weird thing to do for like almost anybody that's not used to it to start with. But the obstacle, going through those obstacles, is always the way to a different you, a better you, a changed you. So that's where those are probably my reference texts right now that I use a lot of.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, bro. The idea of change. And that's really what it all boils down to, is it's all about your willingness to change and your willingness to, here's a good one, follow where the puck is going. And, I think that a lot goes back to, what are we okay with doing again? And what are we doing it for? And I think a big thing that we have to realize is, what is our major why? Why do I want this to do this? And why do I want to be a part of this? And I think that it sounds so damn simple, but it's so complex. And if you just knew what you did things for and why you did them, you'd have a lot more clarity on who you were becoming.
Yep, 100%. I'm curious now. Let me ask you a question, Jim, because you're in this world. You and I have a similar mind frame on that exact topic. And so what I've seen in people that I coach, that I walk through this process, is in that initial conversation, we as North Americans seem to have a fear about committing to anything. So what is your why? Well, I don't know. I don't want to lock myself into anything. Holy shit. How long have you been looking for a why? And so you've been looking so long for the purpose in life that, God was supposed to come down and touch you on the forehead with. But because he didn't, you have no idea why you're actually here. So you've committed to nothing. I see that as this theme all across with so many people, their unwillingness to actually commit to anything in case it's the wrong thing 5 years down the road and they need to change. So they do nothing. You see that?
I do see that a lot of people, I think it's because I tell people this in the field when I'm scheduling them in. Good thing you met me today, because most people don't know where to go or who to trust. And, I build certainty with them on a very fundamental level. And I think that that's one of the things that I think that most people will pull the trigger on if they do feel like they have rapport. And I think that one of the fundamental things for most people to get out of their own way is just for you to tell them that you can help them. And I think most people's resistance is who they used to be, and they're not allowing themselves to be who they're supposed to be. And I think that most of the resistance is tied to getting picked on when we were kids or being the bully. There's a lot of resistance from how our family dynamics were. We have a lot of resistance for personal growth based on the tribe that we've grown up in. We have a lot of personal resistance towards success because we might be judged. I mean, a lot of these things give people shiny object syndrome, and they most of the time will posture themselves with things around them that don't actually embody who they really are. So how the hell could you ever imagine them knowing why they do what they do, other than the fact that the world tells them that they're supposed to go to work and they're supposed to eat and they're supposed to raise families?
Yep.
So they get those fundamental things going for themselves, but they never really get clarity, like we started this out on. They never get the clarity to actually go through and to do what's right for them, because they for us, we're content creators, and that's why people follow our show, and that's why your episode will get over 15,000 listens. It's because we got crystal clear on what we wanted to do, and we wanted to create high-level leveraged content that was consistent and valuable to the end user. And I think that if people just focused on that, and that one thing alone, it goes back to that old parable. If you give everybody what they've always wanted, you don't ever have to ask for anything. And I think that if we just follow that path in life, then you will be your own master, and then you will be the leader of others that look at you as the master as well.
Yeah, I agree. You do yourself a favor and grab that Byron Katie book. It is called Loving What Is. I think with what you just said, I think you will love that book.
Loving What Is, Byron?
Byron Katie.
Katy?
Katie. And that's, I just got it on Audible because obviously it's a really easy listen, but it's like quite profound.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely take a dive on that and we'll chat about that.
Cool. Yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it.
So we're getting up on the end of this episode now. So where are some websites that people can visit if they wanted to learn more about you?
I think probably right now still the best way to get in touch with me is through chiroketo.com. That is my mission right now is to help North Americans lose 100 million pounds of belly fat. And, you know, that's all I do. That's all I do is talk about how we're getting sicker and sicker, and we need to make some massive changes with regards to that. So that's the mission of my life right now. You can actually just book in a call if you want to just shoot the shit and get some clarity in your own life. So that's kind of and it's all based around Chiroketo. So it's that chiroketo.com is how you get a hold of me and how you kind of get to see more of what we're doing on a user level in clinic right now to help other chiros out.
Well, is there anything that we didn't ask you that you would like to share with our audience today?
I think if I could touch just again on what the power of this profession has and is just the most remarkable thing to me is I have a patient that just came to me at the end of 2018, and in 1987 there was a massive Category 5 tornado in Edmonton, which we've never seen before, never seen since. I was actually in it, and I met this patient who was in it with me, and we didn't know each other at all until she came in as a patient, and I said she's had migraine headaches every day since 1987, and she got hit by the side of a house in the head when she was 7 years old, and since then she's had a migraine every day. So she's telling me this story, and I'm like amazed that we were literally a block apart, both of us, in this tornado. And this was the result of her life after this tornado. And she'd been everywhere. She's been on medication. She's seen neurosurgeons. She's seen every single type of healthcare practitioner possible. She came to me with a referral, and within 7 treatments, she was migraine-free for the first time in her since that tornado. And I just, we have such power as chiropractors to make changes that are amazing, that change lives forever. Imagine that woman since 1987 having a headache every day, and doctors telling her she's crazy, telling her that it's post-traumatic stress syndrome, medicating her, the tests, the studies, everything, and it's an Atlas issue. You adjust her Atlas, boom, she's getting better. I can't stress it enough that you need to embrace what we do, because what we do changes lives.
That's beautiful, man. I appreciate you sharing that story at the end, too, because it does go full circle back to your father's story.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's almost exactly the same story.
And it's encouraging to know that everybody is out there looking for answers, and chiropractic has a solution. And that's really why I think that all of these interviews that we've done resonate with the people that are looking for the answer. And we are living outside the four walls of chiropractic now with our message. And
awesome, dude. Keep it up, man. I love it. I love the passion and the presence that you guys bring to this game.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I can't do it by myself. It's Luke as well. Luke always makes sure that I'm in line. If I ever need to step out of line, he always saves a spot for me to get back in. We are our brother's keeper, right?
Yep. Well, you gotta come check out Men of Iron, dude. Then you will have a whole nother level of keepers.
When the time is right, the time will happen.
All right. Awesome.
Well, Dr. Kelly, thank you so much for being our guest today. I know we had a lot of fun, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day, okay?
Hey, thanks very much, Luca. It was great meeting you.
Nice meeting you, too.
All right, Kelly, have a rocking day. We'll talk soon, okay?
You too, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.